Good evening. I'm Joe Lettieri. I'm the Director of Building Services. I would like to I'm here to present Building Services operational budget. To begin, I'd like to remind everyone of our mission statement of the Building Services Department. The mission of the Building Services Department is to clean, maintain, and create learning environments for the students, staff, and community of Albemarle County. Learning spaces should enhance the educational experience while maintaining the health, safety, and comfort of the occupants. Our work is to be completed in an efficient and environmentally friendly manner with a student-centered focus and excellent customer service. So that's in our minds during this whole process. The Building Services Department, as you know, maintains 2.3 million square feet and 630 acres of school grounds. We're essentially divided into four major components. The maintenance department, the custodial department, we have managing the capital improvement program, and then the environmental management group. Our maintenance department has over 40 employees and does various tasks, including carpentry work, building automation, electrical work. We do the mowing in the grounds, we do moving requests, we do plumbing requests. In 2014 calendar year, we received over 12,000 work order requests, and I'm pleased to announce that we completed about 95% of them. That does leave about 640 open, and then of course there's some lingering from the prior year. So on a typical day, we do have over 1,000 open work orders. The custodial department has over 130 employees, and throughout the year work on various tasks, including opening and closing the buildings, cleaning 2.3 million square feet, vacuuming, sanitizing, trash removal, light bulb replacement, moving furniture, and rentals and event coverage. We've taken a hard look at the custodial division this year. We're looking at the staffing standards and the organizational structure, and are in the final throes of a comprehensive analysis of it. We don't have the final results, but I'm pleased to say that it appears to be a very efficient and effective operation compared to national standards and other school divisions in the area.
It is our intent to share that with the board once it's finalized, so you will have that access to what we did.
Building Services also manages the capital improvement program for the school division. Two of the big projects that we're working on now, of course, is the Agna Hurt Elementary Edition, which we will open this fall, and the Henley Middle School Auxiliary Gym Edition, which is actually going to be bid this week. And we're hoping to have that operational in January of next year. In a recent reorganization with the intent to enhance our strategic facility planning, an existing building services position was reclassified to an assistant director of facilities planning position. You mentioned that earlier. Some of the major capital improvement maintenance projects that we're working on this year include HVAC replacement projects at 5 schools, totaling $2.5 million. Hoping to accomplish that this summer. Comprehensive maintenance programs including roof replacement, parking lot paving, sealing, and minor capital projects throughout the division totaling $3.2 million. We are hoping to construct this summer the Western Albemarle High School Environmental Sciences Greenhouse, and also replacing the gym floors at 6 elementary schools. An overview of our entire operating budget. As you can see from the chart, $2.896 million is budgeted to cover salaries. Now, I will say that Building Services provides direct supervision to approximately 168 FTEs to efficiently manage and protect the school division assets. However, in 2015-16, custodial staffing was distributed amongst the individual schools in order to capture actual resources at the locations. And that's why that number's a little down. Benefits for those employees, about $1.4 million, and operational expenses are $5.636 million, of which over $3 million is utilities, and we'll get into that in a moment. The Environmental Management Division of Building Services is responsible for the division's environmental management systems, including environmental compliance, asbestos management, the well water testing, energy and conservation measures, indoor air quality issues, recycling collection, integrated pest management program, and then any hazardous waste disposals. Utility consumption trends. In this chart, you can see we've essentially leveled our utility consumption for this year's budget. We were trending quite downward for a number of years. We did spike in 12 and 13 a little bit because of the cold weather. That's essentially what we attributed it to. I will say that we monitor all our utilities on a monthly basis. We look at the utility bills, we look at the water bills, and if there's anything out of whack, we go looking for it, or at least try to explain it. So we monitor it very carefully. This year, we are looking for a few extra dollars to be able to heat the Agna Herd edition, of course, and the Henley Gym. Fuel prices, like everyone knows, have been a little sporadic.
Can we go back to that slide?
Okay.
When you say projected 15-16, that's actually projected 14-15?
Well, on that, actually, 14-15 is absent from this chart. I sort of did it purposely because I didn't want to put in actuals and then our projection 14 and 15.
Okay.
I kind of left that out. We're mid-year on it. It's a little early to give predictions on it. We're still bringing in the bills from December. So I left 14-15 out of this chart altogether. Okay, so this is the pie chart of our current utility projections. As you can see, electricity is the biggest part of it.
And it isn't looking like Dominion is giving any discounts for lower fuel prices in terms of our electricity bill.
No, we are with the VEPGA Association, so they do negotiate our fuel bills for us, and we are anticipating a 3.5 increase in electricity rates.
Yes, okay. That's
For the most part, we have level funded electricity, gas, and water. Fuel oil is, though, the wild card here. We'll talk about that. Our budget initiative right now is requesting $110,000 more, mainly for utilities. However, again, the fuel oil is the wild card here. Let me explain that. We budgeted $3.61 right now per gallon in this budget for heating oil. In September of last year, we were paying $3.07 a gallon. Okay? The other day, we just spent $1.69. So it's a tough one. It's all over the board right now. So again, we budgeted in this budget $3.61. If we want to gamble a little bit and say it's $3, we can cut from this budget about $72,000.
But that'll probably be one of those adjustments that will coming back to us. Okay.
We'll be bringing those back.
But it's quite amazing what the fuel oil is doing. That's
Is
really
natural
good.
gas a more viable option? Is that
We
it has
use-
consistently lower costs.
Sure, sure. We use natural gas whenever possible. The only time we're not using natural gas if it's not available in that location, like Stony Point or, you know, Yancey, places that don't provide it.
You're still
We-
running on the boilers.
Yeah, and number 2, heat and oil, yes.
Right, is the option to look at converting those systems over to natural gas viable?
If natural gas was available.
We go to, you're thinking of propane, you know, going to propane, the infrastructure is very, very expensive, and much more than oil. And again, oil is just fluctuating so much. Typically, it's a lot more predictable than it is now. Actually, electricity is becoming a very viable option, believe it or not. I know when we did the Brownsville edition, we did a big analysis between the heating oil there and electricity heating, and we actually ended up going with the electric heaters out there. It's more cost effective, so. Electricity is still a good buy.
And I will say this, that yesterday, Joe and his staff and some of our staff on local government side had an opportunity to listen to a focus on looking at trying to head towards net zero in schools. And it was fascinating to me, Joe, to learn that older schools oftentimes generate a lower energy use per square foot than some of the more recently built schools.
That's true. Sometimes some of these hybrid buildings that we build don't pan out like we had hoped or what the modeling does. Big schools like Albemarle High School with all the mass still hold the heat quite well and do quite well. As
One of the
opposed to,
advantages of a lot of windows and natural daylight. They're not as energy efficient.
But really, one of the things that Joe and his staff are taking a look at through Lindsay Check's work is how can we even get tighter around trying to reduce our energy costs per square foot and looking at a variety of strategies. And so one of the things that we heard yesterday is that our work that we've done through Christina's work with Pittsburgh's work with our kitchens to really move to more low cost and more energy efficient equipment in our kitchens has been a really good move. So we're already heading that direction, but there may be some other places that we can do some belt tightening in terms of energy use over the next perhaps couple, 3 years.
we have a team that constantly looks at our energy consumption and ways to reduce it, whether it be through policies or, you know, like you've gotten rid of the refrigerators and whatnot. Other things will be, if you look at the bill, I mean, a simple leak in a cooling tower, for instance, that you can't detect right away because it's draining right back into the drain. If you don't catch that right away, you know, you'll lose a lot of fuel. So we're monitoring it and then talking about lighting, going to LED lighting. There's a whole host of ways to try to reduce our energy, and rest assured we're working on that diligently. So the only other initiative or baseline increase that we're looking for is a 0.5 FTE to handle the additional custodial needed at the Agna Hurt addition, which is approximately 11,000 square feet. So with that, any questions or that I can answer, any concerns?
I do have a question, and you probably won't be able to answer it now, and maybe with Jackson's help, we can come back to it, but remind me what we did in the budget for this fiscal year. We've increased building services management by 41% or over $250,000, and I'm looking at the state category summary there, Jackson. 734,000. I'm on page C126 of your budget book, if you're following along. 734,000 up to 1.04 million, and I was trying to read in the description on the accompanying page what that could possibly be. Do we add a staff member or two? Do we move people around? I just wanted to understand what the nature of that increase was.
We'll need to get back specifically.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So, and Dean, I've mentioned this to you before, not in a meeting, so in the superintendent's letter that we get, we always see how our facilities are being used outside of the normal school day. A lot of it is school activity, but we do have a lot of services that wouldn't be classified as Parks and Rec or school-related. And there's got to be a drag on services for that. Now, I presume these places are also paying fees for the usage.
Some are, some are not.
So I'm curious, the ones that are paying fees, are the fees proper to cover the actual costs on our personnel in the facilities?
Utilities, supplies.
And the ones that are not Parks and Rec and are not school-related, I guess I'd be curious to know why they're not paying fees, who they are and what that is. I don't need necessarily an answer tonight, you're welcome to respond, but.
Yeah, we actually just launched a comprehensive look at building use, who's using them, how they're using them, when they're using them, and then what are the fees being charged, what is the actual cost, and how are we capturing that cost with the fees that we charge. We're going to bring that to the board, so you'll have that information if you want to make decisions around changing fee structures, changing who we charge and who we don't charge. William Dean has taken the lead on that analysis, Lindsay Snoddy, Jackson's community use folks, so we think it's time to take a complete exhaustive evaluation of that and come back to the board with some information so you can make some deliberate decisions.
Is this something that we'll be seeing during this cycle, budget cycle? Is this something that's a future budget cycle?
I think it would be in time for your final budget decisions after we know what the transfer is from the county in April, not before the 12th of February, but.
Does
Yeah,
Piedmont
Professor.
Virginia Community College pay a fee for using our facilities?
If they do, yes, they do.
Okay.
That, at one point in time, they were not charged, but probably, I think it's been probably 8 years ago, Jackson, that we started charging them because they'd expanded the footprint.
And they get the tuition dollar for the students enrolled in the class, right?
We do an exchange on that, that's a one-for-one.
And I know CFA Institute is a big, intense user for a short period of time.
That's a separate contract.
And it's in the self-sustaining funds.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying that there could be groups that are not school-related or press-related. It may be a good reason why we're not charging a fee, but it's just useful to, I think, for me to understand the
Yeah,
range.
I think the board ought to make a deliberate decision, so.
We developed a fee structure, who paid and who didn't pay, based on various criteria.
board
Like the Boy
decided.
Scouts, I think, might be one of those groups that doesn't.
So the board decided what
And the
that
board
was.
decided what that was.
If it advances our educational mission and our same students are benefiting from the program, yeah, it makes sense.
So, for example, one that I will tell you is that Special Olympics, that because that's such a benefit to our kids, that they will occasionally need to use our school facility, and we'll try to waive the expenses there for them, for a group like that.
We still collect the direct fees associated with custodial staff and things like that nature, but in terms of the rental fee, for certain groups, it is waived.
I just wanted to say that I'm really glad that we're doing an in-depth dive into custodial services, and I think that's, it's good to do an annual budget and review, but I think periodically it's good to go to a deeper dive in a department, and that might not necessarily be tied with a particular budget, but the savings that are realized. The analysis and the value of that analysis will last for many budget cycles.
And I just want to point out on the capital improvement program slide that 3 of the 4 items there were all under maintenance, which were automatically funded, correct? And then the Western Albemarle piece was a new project that was approved beyond maintenance.
It's not yet approved, so we're investing design money in anticipation of ultimate approval,
'Cause it's
so we can get it done timely.
That's the one that's currently
Yes, sir.
been recommended.
Right,
And that is a part 1 for that
right.
academy, not part 1 and 2. It's just the part 1
Just the
that's moving
greenhouse.
forward.
But traditionally, the other items up
Environmental
under
studies.
maintenance are ones that are first approved before any new projects.
Laboratory space.
Right,
That's right.
laboratories.
Environmental
Laboratory
study?
space.
That's right. Yes.
So Joe has made some money available from another project to do the design work there in anticipation of that project's approval, and he can then get reimbursed back out. So we did not want to wait till the new money's available, then we'd lose the whole year of the greenhouse.
Laboratories.
That's right.
So you had a half a FTE for Anger Hertz, 11,000 square feet. We don't need anything more for Henley. That's going to be halfway through the year, but that's about five.
It's about 7,000 square
Seven, that's what I was
feet.
thinking, it's 5,000 to 7,000 square feet, so you're going to absorb that?
We're going to try to absorb that. It's like 0.3.
It's a different square footage, too.
And it's a different
It's
square
a di-
footage,
right,
too.
right.
So we've decided we're going to try to absorb that into the current staffing.
Okay.
It's open floor versus furniture. That's what I'm assuming.
Pretty intense use, so I
Right,
would presume it can
yeah.
be absorbed. We'll see.
A lot of windows to
Yeah, we'll see.
clean, yeah.
One of the things that I think that every department tried to do was to take a look at some of the things that you won't see is a decision like that for Joe, rather than put it in to absorb it and try to figure out how do we spread things a little more thinly in order to be able to meet a need. So,
We'll see it the next budget cycle.
well, maybe, but our hope is that we can cost contain. And so that's one of the things these departments have tried to do, and that would be an example.
So the last question I have is a curiosity. I was at Albemarle, I think it was, after a certain time, and it was quite frigid. So I'm presuming at some point the temperature controls kick in. Is that the whole school, or is that dependent upon what's going on in the school?
We have many zones within each school, and we can control, turn them on or off. So at after hours around 5 o'clock, most schools in general go to night setback. Okay? Now, if there's an event going into the building, we try to steer those people into one zone. So if there's multiple people going in, we'll push them to one zone, so we're only running one air handler. You know, we have very good controls on our buildings at night. So we shut them down every chance we got. If school is if school is canceled, a snow day or something, schools immediately go to night setback.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
It's also one of the things that we're looking at in terms of the building use aspect. And we did not have, used to be in the past, we did not have these fine controls over building temperatures that we have now. So the use of the schools on evenings and weekends now may incur some additional expenses that we did not capture before.
But we're going to be looking at rental fees. Okay. And just remind me, what's our total rental fee income? Do you have that number
It's
here?
approximately $400,000.
Not counting Monticello, CFA.
Not counting CFA, that is a separate contract.
So earlier in the revenue analysis, that's the general property rental.
That's the general property rental component of that. That includes custodial fees as well, which make up a large component of that. And then by board policy of the building rental fees, 40% of those get returned back to the individual schools which hosted that rental so that they may do some maintenance and repair of the used items that are associated with rentals. But we'll cover that when we do bring forward an item